Hello and welcome to Quickies with Angela and Katie.
I'm Angela Dawn of Authentic Heart Coaching. I help individuals and couples rewrite their sexual story.
And I'm Katie Wilkinson of Kaity Coaches. I help women and their partners build a better world through women's pleasure. And today we are very much in the mood for pleasure and play.
Yep, this is our annual holiday special. And this year we're going to do something a little different, a little deviant. And I just want to pause for a moment, Katie, and talk about how I went sparkly this year. I'm not wearing the same Christmas nightie I usually wear, and I got really fancy with my drink too. So happy holidays, everyone. I've got some bubble water in a fancy glass. I've got my sparkles on, and we're ready to get a little deviant.
We are loving the vibes here. I've got my larger than life red scarf, kind of bowish. I've got the green on this time, little strappy number, and ooh, it's a kinky Christmas here. Or it's about to be.
It's about to be a kinky Christmas. So I found this delicious little article in the UK Cosmo issue, and it has a list of real life fetishes and kinks. And I want to say that some of these I had honestly never heard of, but like true story. So I thought, what if I quiz Katie on these? Because she's kind of our resident kink expert here at Quickies.
We know I love talking about fetishes and kinks. They're my absolute favorite topic within the genre of human sexuality. So we thought, ooh, let's have me go into this episode blindly. I have not read the article. I do not know what's coming. And I'm very curious if there's going to be anything on the list that I've never heard of. That would surprise me.
Yeah, yeah. So we don't know how this episode is going to turn out, Katie. Like, I think we need to tell our listeners that up front because I had this idea to turn this article into a fun little game, quickie style, right? So the way it's going to work is Katie's going to name a fetish or kink that she thinks is in this Cosmo article. And I will tell her if it's there or not, and then we'll break it down for our listeners. So whether you're curious about kink, clueless about kink, or even deeply kinky, we'll try to offer the right translation, the right words for both kinksters and vanilla muggles out there.
And along the way, we might even get a little bit personal. And of course, we're going to talk about how to approach these interests with a mix of curiosity and compassion.
I would be surprised if we don't get a little personal in this episode, Katie. Yeah.
We love sharing stories.
And I'm just going to be zooming around between like my list of what's in the article and the article. So
It's
I'm
going
going
to
to
be
be
a little
all over the
chaotic, but
place.
like
Yeah, a
sexy
little chaotic.
chaos. We were just
Hmm.
laughing about that before we got into the recording here. We're like, this one's going to be a little different. This one's going to be a little different, but we're
Hmm.
ready for it. Let's see what
It
happens.
sure is. It sure is. We're going to normalize some weird things. And who knows? You listeners might just discover your new favorite way to warm up this winter.
So before we dive in, I've got a couple of points that I'd like to briefly mention. First off, I want to thank my dear friend and fellow sexuality geek, Alana, for her consultation because I showed her my list of fetishes and kinks when we were at lunch the other day in preparation for this episode, and she had a lot of great insights to add. So thank you,
Hmm.
Alana. Second, I want to clarify the difference between a fetish and a kink. Alana had specifically said, she's like, you really should. I was like, okay, we can get
Yes.
technical
No,
here.
that's totally a good call. Yeah.
Yes. So, for anybody unfamiliar, the short version here is that a fetish is a sexual fixation on an otherwise non-sexual object or sensation. And this is often highly, highly specific. You might not need it necessarily to become aroused or to orgasm, but having it there is like an erotic supercharger, to borrow that phrase from sexologist Dr. Carol Queen. And these are vastly more common in men than women. The last statistic that I found on this, it was something like 90% of people with fetishes identify as men. So very, very common in that way. Whereas a kink is more broadly defined as an unconventional sexual activity. Unconventional being relative to cultural norms. So this is going to vary from one area to another, but one thing might be kinky in one culture, it might be vanilla somewhere else. And when I say vanilla, I mean
Hmm.
the normative, average, unquirky, like the standard for what other people would just call normal, quote unquote, sex. So, for an example of each to help you differentiate, and a little bit of spoiler for what's to come, An example of a fetish would be for feet. An example of a kink would be liking to play as a dominant or a submissive role in bed. And an example of vanilla sex would just be missionary. Got it.
I think we've got it, Caity.
And lastly, as we go through our lists, you're probably going to hear some things and go, why would a person ever enjoy that? So I'm going to preemptively answer that because generally
Hmm.
speaking, for a fetish, this is because a person's brain wires got crossed that way sometime in life. Something happened, the brain triggered an erotic response to it, and that link was formed. There may be a genetic component as well. We're not really sure of how much of that is in nature versus nurture. Whereas for a kink, it probably meets an emotional need and or a physical sensation preference. But there can be a lot of overlap between these two categories. And also maybe all of our sexual behavior has an emotional motive under it. So
Hmm.
expect that there will be multiple explanations for why someone might like a particular thing. So with all of that said, Angela, are you ready to play?
Yeah, I'm going to say one more thing that we didn't really talk about yet. And I think it was Dan Savage that talked about not yucking someone else's yum, right? So, that's how we're going to move through this work, through this
Yeah.
game. Trying not to yuck anyone else's yum, even if it's something that we wouldn't do. Yes,
Yes. And being
brilliant.
aware that none of these are really unique to like the human sexual experience. No one's going to be the only one who has any one thing. So in that
Oh,
regard, everything on here is there's a level of normalcy to it.
yeah.
Really, the only thing that comes to concern is that some of them do cross over into the like, is this a criminal activity? Is there consent, like true consent involved? And so we're going to
Mhm.
point out the ethical concerns as we go through if there are any that can be more dangerous in that regard, either socially dangerous or physically dangerous. But otherwise, these are all really, really cool as they are. And there's really no reason
Yeah.
to shame any of them.
And definitely, if your kink or fetish is showing up on a Cosmo list that's entitled, I want to give you the full title too because it's not exactly 50; it's like 48, right? 48 kinks, fetishes, and terms you should absolutely know. If your kink or fetish shows up on this Cosmo list, it is actually kind of normal,
I am
right?
expecting this
I
list to
mean,
be fairly vanilla as far as kinks go. Like I'm kind of actually hoping that the ones that I have on my list are way more extreme and nuanced and interesting.
they might be, but there were some things on this list that I was like, I don't know what that word means. So, here we go. So, I guess Caity, you're going to guess a fetish. I'm going to check the list, and we're just going to go from there organically.
Okay, I think that
All
sounds
right.
great.
Okay,
All
let's
right,
do
so
it.
first up, the most obvious one of all, the most common fetish of all, feet.
Well,
Tell
of
me that's not number
course.
one on the list.
It's actually number 17, the foot fetish.
Okay,
The
so
foot
here's where I'm offended.
fetish.
Why is that
Well,
so
I
far down?
mean, I don't know what criteria they used when they numbered them, but it is number 17 on the list. And the article says foot fetishes are shockingly common and usually seen in people with penises. People with foot fetishes may be submissives, meaning they have a desire to worship at someone's feet through kissing, a massage, or even giving a pedicure.
That's
Foot
what it
fetish is
says.
not it's not necessarily submissive. It also says that.
No, that's absolutely true. It's certainly more common among
Mm-hmm.
submissives. And with all fetishes, it's more common among men. I have listed on my notes to add to that. Other non-sexualized body parts can also be fetishized, but with this, the majority of fetishized body parts, it's going to fall under the foot category. This can include a number of
Mm.
details about the feet, like the arch, the toe size, the shape, hair on the foot, nail color, scent, whether it's clean or dirty. This is one where it's incredibly specific to the person with the fetish. So, like, you wouldn't assume that like everybody with a
Mm.
foot fetish loves dirty feet or loves clean feet or whatever. It's entirely specific to that person. As for the reasons that somebody might enjoy it, it's symbolic of submission, adoration, and it can also be a sensory experience for the touching, the tasting, looking at them,
Mm.
smelling them. This is one of my favorite kinks to come across, or I should say, my favorite fetish to come across with partners because I'm lazy and this is very easy to satisfy with partners and to be able to tease them about.
Way, that's
That's
awesome.
definitely a win. All right, so moving
Okay.
on from there, my next guest
Moving
is
from
gonna
there.
my next guest is gonna be shoes.
Shoes is not on the list, Caity.
Oh, okie dokie here.
No, maybe they kind of thought like foot covered that. there's not shoes, but
I'm
there,
guessing your list is going to be more kinks than fetishes specifically.
well, there's one that, let me see if I can find it. I don't know if I should give this away. I feel like it's so close. Don't give it away.
Well, maybe. Is it socks?
No,
Is it related to feet at all? If
no.
it's other body parts, or
Yeah.
I have that next on my list.
Okay.
Let's
All
do
right.
that one
Well,
in a
let's go
second. So
on.
very quickly
Okay.
with shoes, I'd like to say
Yeah.
there can be overlap with foot fetishists, but not always. A person can be just into feet or just into shoes. For a person who is into shoes, this could include high heels, flip-flops, old sneakers, smelly flats. Like there are a lot of different aesthetic and sensory preferences. And this is
Hmm.
usually referring to interacting with the shoes, not necessarily wearing them in a cross-dressing way. And high
Okay.
heels in particular can symbolize confident, strong, feminine power, which you can see where the submissive appeal also overlaps there. Shoes
Yes.
can also
Hmm.
represent a transformation.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's my
Yeah. Well,
fetish.
I think a lot of men love a sexy high heel, right? And a lot of kinky men really love certain shoes. It
There's
doesn't
a
mean that
power
it's their
vibe there.
fetish, right? But it can be a
It
turn
can
on.
be. It can
Mhm.
be. It depends on what their attraction is to the shoe itself. Like, are they attracted to, oh, she's so sexy, she's in her high heels? Or is it like, no, I'm getting hard looking at that specific shoe in that specific way, and I want to stick my face in
Right.
it and maybe some other parts.
Yeah.
There's a difference there.
Difference. Difference.
Yeah. Okay, so next on my list, I had other body parts, including like hands and noses.
Yeah, so that's the word I didn't know, Katie. It's number 29 on the list. It's queerophilia. Quiroffilia.
Fun. I didn't know the name for that one. I didn't write
Yeah,
down most of those for mine because I knew I was going to have trouble pronouncing them. But if you introduce me
right.
of the actual words for these things,
Queerophilia. I'm not queerophilia, maybe.
is that
Somebody
noses?
who, no, this is hands. Hands.
Oh, interesting.
Someone with this kink, queerophilia, might be attracted to hands or fingers themselves, or hands or fingers doing certain things, or a specific kind of manicure. Depends on the kinkster's taste, like you've been saying, Katie, right? But this term, queerophilia, means you're into hands, fingers, nails in some regard. In some regard. And I'm going to tell you, on my first date with my boyfriend, I admired his hands. I don't know what that means. I don't think it means I have a kink for hands, but I was zeroing in on his hands. He
Were they
said no
nice
one had
hands?
ever complimented his hands before.
He must have had some very nice looking hands.
Yeah. All
All right,
right.
so let's move along here. The next one on my list is popping balloons.
Not on the Cosmo list. Oh, I'm enjoying this not on the Cosmo list because, Katie, that means you have to give me the answer and I don't have to look it up.
So
I
this
get to
one is
be lazy.
ooh, perfect. Good. Hydrate here. So this one is the arousal from inflating or popping balloons. And the thrill of this is it combines the tension, anticipation, and the sound with a desire for release or surprise. This one I actually saw on an episode of Bob's Burgers. They had a couple of the characters enjoying popping balloons together.
That's
So it's always
awesome.
fun when you have like one of these more niche fetishes featured somewhere in pop culture in a positive
Yeah.
way. So I liked that.
Oh, I love that. I love
Mhm.
that. I want to try to find a clip of it. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Tell
Next
me
one
that
for
word
me.
again. The popping word.
Oh,
The
I
word
didn't
for the
have the
popping
word
the
for it.
balloon.
I
Oh,
just
you
put
didn't have the
popping
word for it.
balloons. No,
Popping
most
balloons.
of
Okay.
mine I won't have the word for them
Okay.
for my
All
own
right.
for my own convenience. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they all have a more formal
There
name.
must be a word for this popping balloons. I will look it up later. Go on.
So the next one, I have smells and body odor. Not on the
Not
list?
on the list.
Okay,
I
cool. So
don't think so.
this is an attraction to natural scents, and it's associated with a primal intimacy and an authenticity. It's that realness to it, which I found
Yeah.
really romantic as I was writing that.
I have that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but I wouldn't have called it a kink. I would have called it my instinct. Like I smell a partner and I like the smell or I don't like the smell, and it's, you know, it doesn't work. Like I've had partners where I didn't like their smell and I've liked them and I've tried to engage and even dated people for a while and then just said, I cannot do the smell.
Well, it's
And
interesting that you mentioned that because I feel like there is a real level of normalcy there in general because I feel like all of us, like we are very drawn to our partner's smells or
mhm,
some just like element of interacting with their body. So really, on my list to qualify as a fetish in this case, it would be like a very specific interest in that. And for
yeah.
myself, I'm not sure if it counts if it's to the level of being a fetish, but there are some smells that I really, really enjoy about a partner's body, like especially first thing
Hmm.
in the morning. It's got to be just right, but like that specific ball musk that some guys have, like I
Oh,
find that
yeah,
so delicious, so amazing. I love that
100%.
specific smell.
I
It's
mean, I put my nose all up in my partner's underarm. Like, I'm like, let me smell you, I mean, like a
I had
weirdo,
somebody
total
do that
weirdo.
to me once. The first time we were in bed together, it was so sweet. He was sniffing my underarm, and I was like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And he was like, "Well, scent is the strongest memory invoker, right?"
Hmm.
Because he wanted to remember it. I was like, "Oh my God,
Oh,
that's so sweet." It's very
yeah,
fun.
yeah, no. And again, like, I just think that's human, but go on.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
I'm
think
a
so too.
weirdo.
So the next one on my list, I have body hair, which is very similar to the scents.
Ooh, I'm trying to see if body hair is on here. I
While
feel
you go
like there
looking
is a
for it,
hair.
while you go looking for it, let me talk about this just very
Yes,
briefly. So
go
this one
ahead. I
too is
found it.
symbolic of the natural appeal of the body, but it can also symbolize maturity and rebellion against grooming norms, like my little fuzzy armpits.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So on the Cosmo list, they have trichophilia,
Oh,
which
hair in
is
general.
attraction to hair,
That's fun. I
right?
didn't have that specifically on my list. So go ahead and
So what they're
enlighten me.
saying is that trichophilia refers specifically to an erotic response to hair, be it of the armpit, chest, pubic, or head variety.
Oh, interesting. And I was distinguishing just for the non-head hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fun. Very fun.
Yeah.
There
All
are a lot
right.
of norms around pubic hair in general. Like some people can have a more fetishized relationship to pubic hair, but also because it's in a sexualized area, whether or not you would consider that a fetish, that's up for debate.
Questionable. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the next one on my list, I have extremely specific lingerie or other everyday intimate wearables, like very specific panties, like maybe silk ones or satin ones from back in the 70s, or something that would evoke that other kind of sensuality or nostalgia.
Okay. I think there was only one fabric related
Was it
kink
latex
on
or
the
leather?
Cosmo list.
Because I have that on my
Ne
list. We're going to get there.
Not latex or leather.
Rubber,
Nope.
nylon.
Yes.
Was that in regards to like rope or lingerie or
Nylon fetish was number 18 on the list, and it says going hand in hand with foot fetishes. A nylon kink or fetish involves sexual attraction to, you guessed it, nylons. This could mean you like the look and feel of them, or even touching someone's legs in nylon stockings, or like to wear them yourself. As with many fetishes, this could also be a kink if it's something you don't need to get off. Either way, it's
that
stockings
one's
play.
funny to me because I feel like wearing pantyhose, stockings, whatnot, that's so much less common nowadays, at least among the younger
Hmm.
generation. So I feel like
Yeah.
that one, that's probably got more of an age associated with it, especially if it's a
Hmm.
situation where somebody growing up would have seen like their mother, for example, wearing nylon stockings and like have an association for pleasure that
Yes.
way.
Hmm.
Especially
Hmm.
somebody who grew up to be sexually submissive, and so he might have that attraction.
Yeah. I have some ideas about that childhood thing with the foot fetishes, by the way, but
It's fun asking foot fetishists their
yeah.
stories of if they know like where that
Hmm.
connection came from. There's a lot there because like it could have come from a teacher or their mom or a babysitter,
Hmm.
like somebody in a position of authority usually.
Yeah.
Not always
Yeah.
though. There's a lot of diversity there, but that's me just loving talking about feet more.
All right. Are we going to go to the other fabrics or am I going to, you have a list?
For the sake of me not losing track of my own list, do you mind if we do skip
Okay.
around a bit and I just go in
Let's skip
order?
around.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll circle back, I promise. So next up, I have a period or menstruation fetish.
did not make the Cosmo list. And I'm betting that that is honestly just showing us how uptight Cosmopolitan is,
I know, right? Either
right?
that or it was written by someone who maybe didn't have the exposure to the same level of like the awareness of the number of fetishes and kinks there are now, as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
somebody, I don't know, if this was many, many decades ago, who's like, okay, this is something that was seen as a lot more risque back then, whereas now we're a little more extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Not that these haven't been around for a long time, but now that we're talking about it. So getting into this one, this is arousal from menstruation, period blood, or period sex, and it appeals to the themes of intimacy, rawness, taboo, or connection
Mm-hmm.
to the partner's natural body rhythms. And it can also reflect a comfort with authenticity and with vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So, off of that one, naturally, next I have blood in general, which can be used,
Again.
it can be both the fetishized attraction to the blood or blood used in like kinky rituals. So this
Mm-hmm.
is the arousal of the sight, the interaction with, or the symbolic use of blood in an erotic context. And it ties to themes of intensity, vulnerability, rawness, ritualism, and it can also symbolize trust, danger, or crossing a threshold, because this is a little bit more on the taboo side.
Yeah. I mean, fluid play in general is a little more on the
Yes.
taboo side. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So people can also enjoy the color or the warmth of the blood itself in a sensory way, as well as the thrill of just doing something that's taboo. But this one you need to be very, very careful with because obviously it does
Mm-hmm.
involve injury and there's the risk of spreading infection or diseases. Speaking of which, I'm sure there's also a fetish for diseases, but that did not make my list. Next up, I have poop, which is coprophilia, as well as human toilet or fart fetishes. These are all technically different, but I've lumped them together.
Yeah. I'm glad you lumped those together, Katie. I think we can talk about all of them in the same container.
Uh-huh.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Tell
So
us all
are
about it,
any of
Katie.
those on your list? I'm guessing human toilet will not be.
No, no, they didn't go there. They almost went there with another. That's what I'm saying. This list is not so out there,
It's the
right? It's
vanilla.
pretty. It's a vanilla kink list with like some ringers thrown in, like the hair and the hands.
Oh man.
So we're not in the number two realm. We might be in the number one realm on my list. So you
Good,
know.
because we'll get there too. That's bear with me here. So, very quickly on this particular topic, all of these relate to the texture, smell, sound, and the intense sensory experience of other people's poop or farts. These kinks are all extremely taboo and they play with degradation or extremely submissiveness or sometimes with a torture element.
Mm.
And I've got to say, this was a fun one. Dating somebody who actually was attracted to farts is very, very freeing because then I didn't have to worry about, like, oh my God, what if I ever accidentally fart in front of this person? Because, like, he's going to get turned on by it.
Yeah, I mean that guy's one in a million, Katie, I think.
Uh, Actually, I'm really curious of that. I'm not sure what the statistics are. I was going to be like, no, it's more common than that. But considering there are billions of people
I
around,
kind of meant
uh,
it in a general sense, like, you're lucky to have him.
that was a fun one. That was a really
Yeah.
fun one. Also, like interacting with men attracted to feet, I feel like that freed up a lot of energy being like, oh, I've never found my feet attractive. And now these other people enjoy this, or like other elements of my body. Dating somebody who is attracted to that experience or that body part is incredibly freeing to be able to recognize, like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, no, some people actually prefer this and seek this out and get so much satisfaction from it, from something that another person might be completely embarrassed about. Maybe the state of their hands, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. So the next one on my list, I have Europhilia or golden showers.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Finally one. Finally one on the Cosmo list. Number 32, golden showers and piss play. Golden showers are a form of piss play, which, yes, is any play involving urine.
Did it have
So
more
peeing,
notes? Okay.
yes, it talks about peeing on a partner. Oh, it does use the word urophilia in the description. So peeing on different body parts, clothes wetting, making your partner hold in their pee as part of a scene, all of that kind of thing could be involved in this urophilia
Yeah, so
category.
this one's a lot
Mm-hmm.
about the taboo, there's vulnerability, and there's that shared intimacy within this controlled erotic humiliation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
All
my
right.
next one, I have being ignored or objectified or pretending to be furniture or other inanimate objects.
I don't think that's on the list.
So this one is about,
Well,
oh,
mm,
maybe.
being made, sorry, say it again. Being made to be furniture, I think might fall in a category that is on the list, but I'm not sure.
Oh, interesting.
Like,
In
would that be considered erotic humiliation?
oh, we have a whole other category on that. Um, it can be part of that. It depends
Okay.
like sort of what you're doing, but there is that degradation element. So I would say that this is probably considered with this is one of like the sub niches within that.
Okay. All
So
right. So
this
it's
is
within the category.
enjoying being treated as furniture or as an object. And this is about a very deep
Mm-hmm.
submission. You're erasing the ego or humanity. It plays off of a desire to serve, and it can have that degrading element.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which brings us
Yes.
to our next one, which is erotic humiliation, which I
Oh, well,
love.
there you go. Right in the same category. Yeah. So that's number 40 on the Cosmo list. And that's a spectrum, right, Caity? It's a
Oh yeah.
spectrum. The dominant partner might like to call the submissive partner a slut during sex, and that's erotic humiliation. Or there could be something a little more forced, right? Like you're going to be my table or my footstool.
Forced in quotes here because obviously this is completely
Yes,
consensual. But there can be
absolutely.
that play element of like, oh, you're being forced, quote unquote, to do this because then that relieves the submissive of feeling like they chose to
Mm-hmm.
do it. So they're like, oh, okay, well, I didn't really have a choice. So I can like lean
Right.
into this and relax and enjoy it without, questioning why a person would be attracted to being want to be in this particular situation. This is the erotic focus on embarrassment, degradation, or being mocked. This is usually a cisgender based performance failure, like it's
Mm-hmm.
playing off of that
Mm-hmm.
taboo, or you're doing something gross or demeaning. Another subset of this is actually small penis humiliation, which plays off of the gender idea of like,
Ah.
oh, somebody who feels like they are a failure in this one cis masculine way might enjoy being mocked about that in bed, but in like an accepting way too. This can be incredibly healing depending on how it's done because the person gets to reclaim control of their narrative. So you get to play with the
Mm-hmm.
emotions of shame, inadequacy, or performance anxiety, but you're
Mm-hmm.
doing it in a way that takes these intense emotions and not only makes them feel okay, but also gives that really delicious erotic charge from them.
Mm. And like we could also maybe going in that direction, like maybe it's a tangent, but like cuckolding.
Oh, that's on here too. Yep, that's another flavor.
Okay. All right.
I have like so many. I've got a lot of other ones that also are like tangents within humiliation. So
Uh-huh.
just you wait,
Okay.
I've got like at least six or seven more.
All right. Let's go, Caity.
It's popular. So this one I will go ahead and skip down to cuckoldry because you mentioned it, but
Okay.
then I want to back up here. So
Okay.
cuckoldry or the hot wife fetish. Not fetish kink.
Mm-hmm. Yes, kink.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah. It's on the list. It's on the Cosmo list. It's number 41. I think this has got to be one of the most common out there. Like a lot of people engage in this, right? So watching your partner have sex with someone else. That's really what it means.
And so this is typically going to be done where a woman's having sex with a man who is more conventionally, quote unquote, masculine, like it's done
Mm-hmm.
in an erotic way where the partner is aroused by the arrangement. He's aroused by thinking that the wife is sort of replacing him, but not actually replacing
Mm-hmm.
him. There's this idea that it makes it okay for him to feel less than in an eroticized context where everybody's enjoying it. So typically, that other person that the wife is having sex with would be like a bull, and then the cuck might be there, or he might just have knowledge of the encounter, but this is all completely above board. Everybody's aware of it, all fully consensual. And it combines jealousy with the reassurance and validation of still being chosen. So he gets to be like, I'm not as much of a man as that guy who gets to have sex with my wife or my partner, but she still chooses me. She still wants me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, super common one.
Oh, yeah. Next on my list, I have erotic hypnosis or erotic meditation.
Yes.
That's
Number
on your
38 on
list?
the Cosmo list. Hypno kink is what they call it. Hypno kink. And yeah, so incorporating hypnotism into sex.
Yep. So you're using a trance or a guided imagery to heighten
Hmm.
someone's arousal.
Hmm.
And you get to experience relaxation and surrender and also exploring mental fantasies.
Hmm.
Was there more in the Cosmo article? Because I do have a little story.
Yeah, you can tell me a story. I mean, it just says like it's not always part of a kink or fetish. Some use erotic hypnosis to work through sexual trauma or feel more connected to a partner during sex. Um, Kind of falls under the BDSM umbrella.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I used to have a former submissive where erotic hypnosis was one of his biggest, strongest kinks. And I was like, okay, I want to learn more about how this works. So I asked
Yeah.
him to like send me an example. And he sent me to a website that had different examples on there. Turns out the one that I went and listened to was not the one that he was trying to send me. So like I actually went through the whole thing. I was like, I want to see what the appeal is. And so this recording was talking about transforming me, the listener, from a human man into a goat and like walked through in extreme detail about my body transforming. And I was on this farm and then I got milked. And I was just like, whoa, it was actually a lot of fun. Like I was
Yeah.
still, not necessarily aroused by that particular idea, but like my body was still very much having the experience of like, oh, I'm transforming. I can feel myself as this animal. Like I can feel the
Wow.
stimulation from it. Like this is really neat. And it was deeply, deeply relaxing. Like I wanted to go take a nap after that. It was so much fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's the time Caity became a goat, a male goat.
Oh, that's gonna come back up again, Katie. Yeah, the time Katie became a he goat is gonna, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't worry, that will rear its head again.
Mhm. So next on my list, I have forced feminization, sissy play, and bimbofication. This is another one where I have lumped these similar ideas.
Again, super glad you lumped those things together. And they're not exactly on the Cosmo list, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So all of these are role play that transforms someone into an exaggerated and very stereotyped version of femininity. The transformational aspect here is key. It is just as important as there's also a submissive element to this. And this plays with surrender, identity play, and taboo reversal. And it can be really helpful for exploring self-acceptance. But it does have this humiliation element to it because
Hmm.
you've got someone in usually a masculine presenting body who's being feminized. And like normally when we
Hmm.
see this in, I don't know, everyday media, it's like men dressed as women for comedy effect. Like, and I'm not talking about drag. Like
Hmm.
drag is its own separate type of performance that's not
Right.
typically intended for anything sexual. This is more of it's a personalized cross-dressing for sexual purposes. Like cross-dressing also doesn't have to be sexual, but in this case, this is not only sexualized, but it's also the more extreme version of these things. Like this
Hmm.
person is dressing like this because they're getting a sexual high off of feeling the difference between their everyday masculine persona and now suddenly they're stepping into this identity of either pretending to be a woman or like enjoying the embarrassment of not being able to pass as a woman.
Hmm.
Yeah. As well as
All
just
right.
enjoying it kind of takes the cultural idea, like especially with bimbofication, like you're taking this idea of like this mocked version of femininity and like stepping into it and playing with it in a way that can be a lot more fun.
Yeah. And I,
There's a
kind
costume
of
element.
can go, it can be part of that erotic humiliation
Yes.
piece potentially. So a lot of overlap here.
Yeah,
Like I'm
especially with the
even
element.
looking, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, especially with the element of like the quote unquote forced feminization, that's another one where the guy gets to just enjoy it because he's like, oh, well, I didn't have a say. I'm being forced into this, excuse me,
Right.
consensually. So I can just enjoy being in women's clothes without being like, what does this mean about me as a man? Like without having that identity panic. Like he can just enjoy it to enjoy it.
And I realize there's a couple of things on the list here on this Cosmo list that maybe we kind of already went over, but because they're called something a little bit different.
What are you seeing?
Did we talk about attraction to inanimate objects?
I have a couple, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I've got a few specifics for that one, but we will
But
get
when
there.
because we were talking about the sissification, it made me think about objectification.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. So the difference is whether the person is acting as the object versus they're attracted to the object in a fetishized way. So that's another example of like the fetish versus kink. It's a fetish if you're attracted to a particular object, it'd be the kink if you're acting as that object.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So we
All
will
right.
get there because on a vacation years ago, I was binge watching My Strange Addiction, and they talked about
Mhm.
three different examples of that. Actually, we can
Okay.
we can do that now. We can skip
All
into
right.
that. I will not
All
lose
right.
my place on this.
So with
So
the objectification, what it says in the Cosmo article is a kink, as a kink or fetish, objectification refers to arousal by being dehumanized. For example, someone who wants to be erotically hypnotized to see themselves as a sex doll or object would have an objectification kink or a fetish if that's how they get off.
actually, doll play is on my list too, where a
See,
person is
there's
role
so
playing
much
as a doll.
overlap here.
There is so
Yeah.
much overlap. Absolutely. So in this case,
Yes.
that's the person being drawn to the objectification, not the
Okay.
object themselves, but acting as that.
Mm-hmm.
And side note on doll play, it's the perfect blend of like a perfection fantasy along with control and
Mm-hmm.
submission. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the Barbie movie was just one big doll play.
It was fun. Perfect Barbie. Did you say that on your list there was also like the attraction to specific objects?
Yes. They called
Okay, let's talk
it
about that.
objectum kink. Objectum kink. It's not the same as objectification.
Right.
Um, objectum fantasies have sexual relationships with or attraction to inanimate objects. So, like bridges or like trains, right?
I have on my list cars and machines, other automobiles,
Yes.
inflatable pool animals, even amusement park rides. There's a lot going on here. And again, it's
Yeah.
going to be completely different for the person, what their tie is
Mm-hmm.
with that, but often they have more of, they're on more the submissive side of it, where whatever the object is, especially if it's something that's capable of moving or it's like a very large, powerful thing, they're submitting to that particular
Mm-hmm.
object. Whether there's adrenaline involved, there's definitely the power and domination thrill. For something like the inflatable pool animals, there's also that like play and nurturing and
Mm-hmm.
gentleness bit. And for like cars and trains, there can be that rhythmic sensory stimulation as well.
Yes. Yeah. Who doesn't love a good train song, right? Rhythm there.
Yeah. All right. So let's skip back up here on
Yeah.
my
What else is next
list
on
then.
your
So,
list?
so we are kind of skipping around, but I have chastity and orgasm control.
Yes. That's on this list.
Finally.
100%. 100%. Actually, it's number 48. It's the last one. They were waiting for people to get to all the way to the end of the article, right? But let me just
They
say
were
this
edging us.
orgasm control thing. Yeah, they were edging everybody. The orgasm control thing is again, fairly common, right? Like who hasn't been in a relationship like that?
Who hasn't bought their partner a chastity device?
Um, orgasm control, according to Cosmo, involves usually a submissive partner allowing a dominant partner to control their orgasm. So it could be edging, orgasm denial, forced orgasms, or ruined orgasms.
Oh, that's a fun one too. Yeah. So this plays with
Fun
the
being,
anticipation, it plays with surrender. It shifts the focus from being the goal-oriented pleasure of the orgasm. And there's also like the fun of, oh, it's out of your control because a partner is in charge of that. So it's very,
mm-hmm,
very sensitizing within the body. But this is all obviously done in a very consensual way.
mm-hmm,
But it can be very similar to edging in that particular regard.
mm-hmm. And I
Ruined
would just
orgasm is a
say,
lot of fun. Not to
what's
be on the
really
receiving end so much.
interesting?
That's just a lot of fun to
Yeah,
cause.
yeah. I'll get a little personal here, Caity, on this one. I did have a relationship once where this was part of the thing. And I will tell you, when that relationship was over, I had to relearn to have orgasms on my own. Yeah. So, play as
I
you
played with
will, but
I
there
played with
are
this with partners.
consequences.
I've played with this with partners before where unfortunately he did not have to relearn how to.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm telling you, I did. So I don't know what kind of hypnosis might have been, but it
I
was
have
a
many,
very,
many questions there, but this
yeah.
is an incredibly common one, especially among men
Hmm.
who want to feel their orgasms more controlled or feel like they're kind of giving that element of their pleasure to their partner for her whim. So I
Hmm.
frequently said that's really, really fun. Why I wish more women knew of the power of this, of being like, listen, if your man wants to hand you the keys to his pleasure, oh my God, you can do so much
Take
good with that.
them.
Anything you want done around the house, anything in his behavior you want changed, use that. It's win-win because he's going to get off on it. You're going to get what you want too. This is fantastic. This is like you can wholesomely weaponize this one. I love it.
I mean, well, that gets into 24/7 dynamics, even maybe.
Oh, that's on the list, kind of, kind of, sort of.
All right. Well, I'm not
Um,
going to go ahead. What's next
yeah,
on your list?
yeah. We'll do some edging here. So, on a completely unrelated wink, wink note, I have femdom.
Oh, yes, femdom is on here.
Oh, thank God. Okay, what's it say?
Thank God we found one that's on here. All right, it's number 8. Let me scroll up to number 8. And of course, there's also some related things to femdom.
Findom, that's next.
Yes, exactly. They're next on this. Number 8 is findom, and number 9 is a money kink. So I'll call them the same, or. So findom, short for financial domination. This kink is rooted in the transfer of money from a submissive individual to their dom. Okay. Findom refers to, it could be regular old gift giving, or it could be something a little more demanding. And then there's money kink, which is just a plain old money kink. Horny for paper money, turned on by what money represents in the capitalist society, like power, status, luxury,
I have
unattainable
absolutely
lifestyle.
gotten arousal from randomly getting money before.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my God.
it's pretty sexy. It's
Uh,
pretty sexy.
So playing with
Yes.
Findom, the financial domination specifically, and I am kind of lumping them to be both the money and gifts there.
Hmm.
If it's men paying, they're called pay pigs. This plays with devotion, surrender, worthiness, and the desire to please through tangible sacrifice. There is a lot of this online, where the women
Hmm.
who are receiving that, they actually role play different personas. Like she might be this mean dom who ignores men, or she could be a princess who likes being spoiled, or somewhere in the middle between the two of those, or she might be playing like the girl next door type. There's so much variety. So a submissive will specifically seek out the person's personality based on what kind of emotional experience they want to be having by giving these gifts and money.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right, where are we going next, Caity?
Okay, so stepping backwards, femdom is female
Yes,
domination.
that is not on the
Oh
Cosmo
shit,
list.
I thought you meant that was on the list, right above the findom stuff.
No, it was, see, fem and fin sound
They're
so
very,
close.
they do.
Yes. They
Okay,
had fin and money, but not fem.
so let's
But
talk about,
femdom is much more exciting for us, right? Isn't it, Caity?
I mean, I'll take both, please. So, female domination is the greatest thing ever. And yes, I'm annoyed that it has to have a separate word for it because this should be the norm. This is the way the world should work according to the Court of Caity. So this is a dynamic where the woman holds power over her submissive partner, and they both like it better that way. It's completely consensual. This fulfills the submissive desire for surrender, for structure, and for the thrill of being led by a confident woman. And for the dominant, she gets the space to express and explore the thrills of her power, her creativity, and her attunement to her partner. That attunement is key with any kind of dominant submissive
Hmm.
relationship. The dominant is attuning to the needs of the submissive and creating these circumstances and experiences for the both of them that get both of their needs met. This is not like I'm going to steamroll this person. So I know that
Right.
when people think of femdom, they might think like, oh, this is just this domineering bitch and she's blah blah blah. Like, no, this is he wants this. He really does. He's getting
Hmm.
off on this too, and she's very conscientious about it.
Hmm.
You can
Yes.
tell I have a personal tie in here.
It's a lot of work.
Oh my God, yes.
Like,
The
I
emotional
don't think
labor.
people understand how much the women work in that scenario.
Oh my, it's so true. Like people think, oh, okay, to be a
Yeah.
dominatrix, you're just going to throw on leather, latex, whatever, prance
Mm-mm-mm.
around, be No, like you can't do
No,
that because he's not going to get off on it unless you're already tapping into the thing, like into his interests. They have to be.
you gotta quiz them, learn who they are. You've got contracts, you've got rules, you've got repeated behaviors that have to be monitored. Like
Rituals.
holy mackerel,
Yes.
it is a lot of work to be the dominant in that position. It really is.
I mean, I would say it's a lot of work to be the dominant in any position if you're doing it right, but
Hmm.
especially for that kind of if it's a longer term relationship, like
Hmm.
female, it's called a female-led relationship. Yeah,
Hmm.
there's a lot of mental labor, emotional labor, caretaking happening in that circumstance.
Could we just take a step back for maybe some of our listeners who are still hanging on, but like maybe aren't totally clear what we're talking about with dominant and submissive?
Should we address the most basic vanilla version of
Yeah,
BDSM type?
because I mean, that's on the list.
Oh, well,
It's
tell
on
me
the
what you
Cosmo
have because
list. Well,
I didn't list the basic version of that, but I do have master slave role play on my list.
oh, okay. So it says dominant and submissive is number 21 on this list that I'm going from. And it says a dominant is someone who enjoys dominating their partner through various kinky activities. These can be physical, like being tied up, or mental, like calling someone names. The submissive partner enjoys being dominated and being the one who is consensually tied up, slapped, humiliated, etc. So that's the basic
So the public has one
definition.
idea of this, like the idea that
Mhm.
the dominant person comes in and they're all commanding and they're like, you do this my way. And that is completely not at all what's happening. That would not
Nope.
be consensual. That is not acceptable within kinky
Mhm.
communities. It's actually the submissive that has all of the power. They're the one choosing the dominant. It's based on, first and foremost, what their limits are in the scenario, what they want to experience, what this is all around their needs, their comfort,
Yes.
their whatever they need out of this interaction. This is all completely based around them, not based around like the dominant imposing some kind of scenario that the sub wouldn't also be getting off on.
Yes. Yes, 100%. And also, I think it's worth differentiating the difference between scene play and something that's a little more 24/7,
Oh yeah, like
if
a
you're up
relationship
for that.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, scene play is number 20 on the Cosmo list, but it
Why
shouldn't
do
be
they
on a
even
list of kinks.
differentiate that? I
I
feel
think
like
they're
you could.
just trying. It's like, hello, BDSM terms. We're just, but yes, it's number 20 on their list. They say a scene is a term for the time period in which the kinky play goes down. While you might refer to a night of sex as a hookup, those within the kink community often refer to kinky sex sessions with partners as scenes. And I will just clarify for everyone, a scene does not necessarily involve sex
No.
at all. At all. I would
Nope.
say lots of kink scenes don't have sex or even sexual contact. So,
That's something that
yeah.
people misunderstand about like dungeons in
Mhm.
particular, and
Yeah.
even going back to femdom, if it's a scene rather than a 24/7 dynamic, often there is no sexual activity happening, even though it is a highly eroticized context. You could completely
Right.
keep your clothes on for both people and still have a scene.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Did you have more to add on that, or shall I
Well, I
continue?
mean, I don't know if you wanted to talk about 24/7 dynamics,
Oh,
but
right, we
like
haven't addressed that yet, so that
we
one's super
haven't
fun.
because so yeah, so like with a scene, you're just engaging in one event with someone, right? And
And you can have
maybe
scene partners who maybe you are dating them, maybe you're not dating them, maybe it's you meet up in the safe scenario and you have that
you
exchange.
meet up at the club or what have you. You plan a scene to do with your partner, and maybe it's an individual thing that you're doing, and it's
It
not
might
part
be an
of your
ongoing
total
relationship, but it might
relationship.
not be.
Right. But if you have a 24/7 arrangement, that's different. And that did make the Cosmo list, the 24/7 arrangement. That one is number 45 on the list. And what Cosmo says about that 24/7 arrangement is while people may generally identify as a submissive or dominant, some partners take it to the next level and enter a 24/7 arrangement, meaning that the consensual power exchange occurs full time, often while living together. The dominant and submissive roles are not only taken on for a scene, which may last just a few hours, but literally full time on a 24/7 basis.
Yeah. That's much more commitment oriented.
Oh yeah.
It's seen as like a harder core version.
Absolutely.
And speaking of harder core versions of BDSM, here's where we can get into the master slave role play.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Tell us about that.
So that one can also be for the purposes of scenes, or it can be a 24/7 dynamic. This is a structured power exchange dynamic. This is deliberately a little bit more extreme than the other versions, just like mentally knowing, okay, this is the submissive is, feeling quote unquote owned by their
Hmm.
master there. So sometimes a contract is involved. Now, this is not a legally binding contract. This is symbolic and it acts as more of a sex toy, but this will lay out the terms of here's what the submissive
Hmm.
can do, here's what they're not allowed to do, just everything that they've agreed to. And this
Yeah.
plays with the ideas of ritualized surrender, structure, and trust between the parties.
Hmm. And the contract is really a form of consent in these situations, right? Because you're negotiating what's going to be in the contract. So both parties are agreeing to it. It's
Yeah, it's
beautiful.
that way of
Hmm.
pre-negotiating consent, being like, okay, these
Yeah,
are the rules that we are going to continue to agree to until we're no longer following this contract.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a fun one.
All right,
All
where are
right,
we
you
going
ready?
next?
So next one, a bit of a caveat, or not caveat, a bit of a pivot here.
Hmm.
Let's talk about breath play, breath restriction, and choking. Because we know
Ooh,
choking is
okay.
seen as a lot more mainstream these days, but that actually is still a
Hmm.
very kinky act.
It's very kinky, and I would say, let's talk about it. It's dangerous, right? You got to know
Yes,
what you're doing here.
I have some extreme caution notes here. So is that
Yeah,
one on
like
your list?
so it's not, and I think because they don't want to promote it. But gagging is,
Oh,
right?
interesting.
So
Let's talk about gagging briefly.
yeah, so a gagging kink could be just enjoying the feeling or sound of your partner choking,
Mm.
especially on a penis, for example, or
As long
getting
as it's
turned on by,
consensual.
yeah, or getting turned on by that sound or feeling as the giver, or it could involve vomiting or being vomited on as a result of gag play.
Oh, I didn't
But
have vomit on my list.
well, there you go. Now we've covered it, maybe.
Yeah. With regard to like ball gags or something that someone's physically going to have in their mouth, that one also has a degradation element to it because having
Yes.
someone's mouth forced open like that is going to cause them to drool on
Hmm.
themselves.
Yep.
And
Sure
obviously,
is.
it's going to restrict their ability to vocalize.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, but with breath play specifically and breath restriction choking, this is where your airflow is restricted to intensify arousal. A minor version of this
Hmm.
is if you hold your breath as you're preparing to orgasm, which I don't recommend because sometimes I do this accidentally if I forget that I intend to be doing deep breathing, but I'm not, and then it will cause me to have like cramps after orgasming. So I don't recommend that. But it does intensify the sensations in that particular moment. But here's where I want to give a huge caveat warning. I never recommend choking yourself or restricting your own breath in any way, like with an object or with something that you can't
Mm.
just like immediately remove yourself. Do not do that while masturbating because people have died from this. That's
Yes.
called autoerotic asphyxiation.
Yeah,
It is way too easy for something to go wrong in that circumstance.
absolutely.
With a partner, breath play can be used to mix adrenaline with surrender and control, and it can induce this sense of euphoria that can also be coupled with the mental aspects of submission, domination. But again, you have to be very, very careful about how you're doing it. This isn't just like randomly grabbing someone in the throat. There are very specific ways to play with that kind of choking where you're not actually going to be harming the other person. I was once
Hmm.
talking to a guy on a dating site who said that he was into choking, and even though I'm not, like, I like to ask people when they bring up kinks, I'm like, oh, what part of that is appealing to you? And he mentioned, he goes, I like to see the way her eyes bug out. And I'm like, oh shit, no, he's
Oh,
overdoing it. That is the incorrect way to do this. Oh my God, this man's a danger. Do
yeah,
not do that. We're not talking about that kind of extreme. That's risking a
yeah.
lot of
With a lot
long-term.
of these kinds of play, I'm sure we're gonna talk a little bit about some other types of play that are dangerous. It is so important to educate yourself, to belong to a kink community, to join groups and clubs within the kink community where people know how to do these things properly. Because even if you think you know how to do something properly, you really might not, and it can be very dangerous. So I'm definitely a big proponent of kink education, and part of that is going to munches, being in kinky groups and talking with people.
Yeah, munches are when kinky people get together for it, usually like a more vanilla kind of like getting together for a
Like
meal or like a
food.
get to know
Yeah.
you, like a not a sexual thing,
Hmm.
just a community
Right.
discussion kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, touching on this, here's another area where people like to rush in. They think they know what they're doing, but they can cause enormous harm. Physical pain and impact play.
Yes. Yes. So impact play is on the Cosmo list,
Good.
of course, right? Everybody loves thinking about a good spanking, I think. Maybe not everyone. But on the Cosmo list, it says usually done by a dominant to a submissive. Impact play refers to hitting or spanking a partner's body. Spanking is a common form of impact play, and others enjoy using toys like props, paddles, or whips. To keep impact play safe and comfortable, most partners decide on a safe word, agree to only hit fatty areas like the butt or thighs to
That one's a
lessen
huge
pain.
distinction because people think you
Yes.
can hit anywhere. No, you can cause irreparable body harm.
No. Oh my heavens. I literally one time did a scene and yeah, like got bruised in places I shouldn't have gotten bruised. Like thing you wouldn't think about. You can get your kidneys bruised. You can get your kidneys bruised. Kidney bruises will keep you in bed for a good day, I think. That was my experience. So,
My
yeah.
condolences. That one's
Hmm.
big because people think like, oh, it's a body, you can hit wherever, but there are so many
Nope.
vital organs that are at risk here. Yeah, no, that's you absolutely need to do your research before experimenting with any of that. And also, you're better off using the tools on yourself first so you know exactly how hard you can hit,
How
what
they
kind of
feel.
sensation it's going
Hmm.
to cause, not just blindly picking up something and hitting someone with it because they want it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So, expanding that to also talk about physical pain play in general, here you're
Yes, let's
using
do that.
pain, the erotic stimulation of that pain. And there's an endorphin release. This can also be very emotionally cathartic. And there's just the fun of the power exchange of having that with somebody. I know
Hmm.
someone who is extremely into pain, and this is actually influenced by his very extreme Christian upbringing. That's what led him to explore forms of pain as a way of
Oh.
repenting. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I
I
mean,
found that
I think
fascinating.
all that self-flagellation the Catholics used to do back in the day, I'm telling you, that's what that was. They were
Mhm.
getting off on that.
Yeah, so even if you're not using an object, you can also expand this to like biting. This can be really hard scratching. You can use electricity. You can use knives. You can use needles. You can do wax and burning. But again, you're doing this, you're not trying to cause any kind of
Hmm.
permanent injury. You need to talk with partners about whether or not you're comfortable having marks left. Like there's so much discussion that goes into this.
So much. And can we can we talk about CBT or
I
is
was
that
just gonna say that. It's on my list too. I was like, oh, there's a subset of this. Of course, the person I was
Oh,
talking about is also into that.
when I see CBT, I think cognitive based therapy, and that is not what this means.
This is cock and ball torture.
Yes, it is.
I
So we're
giggle
talking about,
whenever I see CBT written out in the therapeutic context.
I know, but my first thought, but that's my first thought every time is cognitive behavioral therapy. And actually, they make a joke about that in the Cosmo article.
Oh, do
But
they? That's fun.
yeah, they do make that joke. But it's fairly self-explanatory, but it's really about consensual pain on the submissive's genitals. And I also want to say that this is, as many of these things, something to take great care with. Yes.
Very much so. And the cis female version of this is called pussy torture.
Oof. No, thank
Which
you.
actually, when I used to work for divorce lawyers, this did come up. It wasn't a case that I had, but in general, it was mentioned once where one of the attorneys had never heard of that. So when she came out of the consultation and the person had been talking about engaging in pussy torture in her marriage, and this poor attorney is just like shaking, like, what was that? And they're just like, no, it's kinky, it's fine.
Wow.
Yeah. Kink didn't, we didn't there weren't references of it very often in our cases, but when it did come up, I was like, oh, I'm the resident expert. That was fun.
Oh my God. I mean, if I was going to pick a divorce lawyer office, one that had the king expert in there might be a good one.
Should have been on our marketing, geez.
Right,
Um,
Katie.
so another subset of pain play, I have nipple play, nipple torture on here.
Okay, that is not specifically discussed in the Cosmo article.
Okay, so this, just like it sounds, this is stimulation or of pain focused on the nipples because this area is extremely sensitive and has a lot of nerve endings. So this can be a very
Hmm.
intense practice, and it typically involves a power exchange.
All right.
Yeah.
Where are we going next?
Oh, baby. So next up, I have bondage and restraint.
Okay. Could we like slip in temperature play?
Oh, yes. I don't think I have that one. Yes, please. Let's do
Oh,
temperature.
look at that one that's on the Cosmo list that's real that isn't on your list. Um,
It's real.
it's real. Sexual activity that involves elements of temperature, right? So using heat, cold. I mean, this could be as simple as, putting your dildo in the freezer, right?
Yeah, you know how they have warming and cooling lubes?
Hmm.
Also, you can
Totally.
take an ice cube and trace the person's body with it.
Yes, you sure can. So that some of these temperature play things could become a little bit painful, but it's generally thought of as more of a play than
It depends if the
a
sensation you're going for
sensual.
is more of like
Hmm.
kind of a lighter sensation versus if you physically want it to trigger pain. Like with
Hmm.
wax play,
Yes.
as I had mentioned before, they make a very specific type of wax that you're using for it. It's not just your standard candle wax. For
Yes.
that, there's temperature control. So it's going to have an effect on your experience, whether or not you're experiencing pain versus a lighter, just kind of warmer wax.
Right. And wax play is on the list from Cosmo as well. So, and that's something I think people think of as kinky, right? Dripping hot candle wax on your sexual partner, right? Like that's gonna pop up pretty quickly for normies. And I just want to give one little tip for that. Make sure your skin is moisturized. Better yet, a little layer of oil on the skin prior to the wax being dripped. You will thank me later. You will
Mm.
think it's so much easier to remove the wax if there's some oil on your skin first.
Wise words. Otherwise, you're ripping out hair.
Woo, yeah.
Okay, so bondage and restraint. What is the article?
Okay. Yeah, so I know it's in here. Hold on. So they actually have BDSM as a category just because I think people don't even know what that stands for. And I guess it's worth pausing and just letting people know that it means bondage and discipline and domination and submission, right? That's what
And sadism
BDSM
and masochism. That's where the
stands
S&M
for.
part.
Yes.
Almost each
Yes.
letter has two different two meanings.
Bondage, discipline, domination, submission, sadism, masochism.
Yeah.
Bunch of words. It's the whole thing. It's the whole thing. Let's see what else would be related to that.
Did it
They
not
talk
have
about
like restraint play specifically mentioned in the article?
no, it's here. There's just 48 things I'm scrolling through. So they've got rope bondage.
Oh, yep, that's yeah.
They actually talk about edge play, which we've kind of gone over already.
Yeah, I
Um,
would say.
and then sadism and masochism as a separate category in BDSM. And that's what they've got.
Okay,
So tell
cool.
me what
So
you've got, Katie.
let's talk about bondage. So this is where you have
Hmm.
your movement restricted using objects like ropes, cuffs, a spreader bar. You can use latex. You can use other physical devices that keep you from moving in a particular way. And this heightens
Hmm.
your vulnerability, so it's going to heighten your sensation. It also is a really good trust bonding exercise if this is something that you're comfortable with asking a partner to do. So, sex toy shops actually make not only do they sell the specific rope you can use because it's going to be very gentle and soft on the skin,
Mm.
they also sell very specific scissors to be able to cut that rope because you want to be able to get your
Yeah.
person out of whatever the bondage is very, very quickly, just in
If
case
you're
they start to panic.
interested in getting into rope play, the first thing you do when you buy your rope is also buy the appropriate scissors. They
Yeah.
both go in the same bag so that wherever you take your rope, the scissors go to.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
More tips from Angela.
And there are lots of classes that you can take both online and in person about how to
Oh
tie these
yeah.
really intricate patterns. It's a lot of fun. It puts the person into quite a flow state while they're doing the tying.
Hmm.
And it's very much not a quick process. There's a lot of intricacy that goes into these specific knots and arrangements. So that's because it takes so much to get into it. It's also going to take time to undo them slowly. And that's why you need to have those
Hmm.
scissors handy. I actually have a short little story here.
Okay, all right. Tell me that story, and then I'll add some more because rope play is one of the things I've probably done more of than.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't know that.
Oh
So I
yes.
was
Well,
at a dungeon
I
in
might have
DC
some
once.
photos to share.
Angela, the
Go
secret
on.
rope bunny. So I was at a dungeon in DC once. This was, I think, the first and only time that I had visited a dungeon. It was quite an experience, but I got to
Mhm.
see someone performing really gorgeous, intricate bondage on a volunteer. And I got to witness this in person. It was so cool because I called him Santa Claus, like, because there were these older guys who showed up, they like were minding their own business, but just
Mhm.
imagine this kind of dude with like a long Santa beard, wearing a leather vest, leather pants, no shirt, just kind of like in the zone with a duffel case full of ropes, just tying up this young, like 20-something-year-old guy who happened to be here with his partner, and the partner's watching and like stroking his hair as Santa's doing these knots.
Aw.
And so I'm watching with a friend of mine, and she kind of points out, she goes, "Oh, the guy being tied up, like, can you hear that moaning?" And like, look, his face is starting to turn red a little bit. I think he's about to orgasm. And I was like, no, no, no. Look at his face. He's in panic mode. He's about to have a
Oh
panic attack. Oh my
no,
gosh.
not
And so
good, not
thankfully,
good.
Santa did notice that, immediately had to get him out of things very, very quickly. And so I got to witness this
Mm.
extremely emotional exchange from a distance where after he was completely untied and he was hugging his partner who was there with him, just like one of those, oh my God, I've been saved from the brink of death kind of like, ooh.
Oof,
And so to
oof.
be able to witness that strong, strong reaction from somebody who it was, to my knowledge, completely consensual the entire time, but for whatever reason, when he needed to get out, he needed to get out fast. And so
Yeah,
that's why
well,
it's
and
important to have those tools.
I don't know what happened in that situation. Obviously, I wasn't there, but even if everything is being done consensually and correctly, right? In other words, there's no biological danger and everyone has agreed to what's happening, there can still be trauma triggers, right?
Yes.
And those can come on when it's unbeknownst to the person carrying the trauma. They might not even know whatever happened to them in the past that's triggering them in that present moment. So that's the kind of situation where something is going to have to change really fast. Mhm.
And I'm really glad you made that distinction too, because like you said, it can be a circumstance where everything was done right and still something goes wrong. And you need to be able to have fail-safe techniques in place so that you can quickly just
Absolutely.
reset that, go right into aftercare, start the healing, and just come down from that intense emotional experience.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, luckily my experiences of rope were not that kind of experience. I mostly had a really good time when I was exploring rope. But yeah, there's some very talented folks out there who are, semi-professional at doing tying and, just make sure that if you're going to be tied up by someone who is professional or semi-professional, that you get recommendations and talk with people who have also been tied by them and make sure that they're a reputable person, of course. Yeah.
Yes, there are a lot of people masquerading as good doms who are not good doms. They are not
Hmm.
aware of the precautions that they should be taking for whatever particular activities they're engaging in, or they're there for the wrong reason. So this isn't just a rope
Hmm.
situation. This is all kinds of kink. You have to be extremely careful with anyone you're handing your power over into in that circumstance. There are
Absolutely.
a
Yeah.
lot of people who it drives me nuts seeing the guys online who are like, oh, I'm so dominant. I want a woman to submit to me. And I'm just like, this dude doesn't know shit about shit. Okay. He has never
No,
read a book in his life.
no. Yeah. Yeah. And there are books. There are so many good books on kink. So many good books.
Yep.
I specifically, I love the topping and the bottoming books. The bottoming book and the topping book, go out and get them if you're interested. Fantastic explanations of those dynamics. But rope play is something you can enjoy by yourself. Self tying is super fun. Not that I have any experience with that. Okay,
I
go
was
on,
gonna
Kate.
say, is that also on? As long as you're
Yeah.
doing it in such a way that you can get out of it, like you're not, you tie yourself
Yeah,
and just get
absolutely.
stuck in bed.
Yeah, you have to. No, no, I'm talking
Smart about
about
it.
like, you're learning a way to do it and you're following instructions and then you know how to do it safely and so
Yeah.
forth. Yes. Self-tying for the win. And, the setting your camera to be able to take pictures of you while you're self-tying.
I have a demi inappropriate comment on that. For
And
anyone,
next,
for
let's move
anyone
on.
who knows too much about serial killer lore, BTK before, well, in the middle of his murders and whatnot, but he actually used to like self tie himself up when he was dressed as a woman and would have some kind of device off from the scene to be able to take pictures of himself remotely, like in those tied up scenarios.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
creepy. Okay. Sorry, when it
Those
comes
are
into
the
serial
gross.
killer zone, that's like out of kink zone into something else.
I know way too much about serial killers. Fascinating. My true crime girlies out there.
All
But let's
right, Kate.
deviate. Let's deviate from that.
Okay, so is there anything, what's on your list that you feel like you have to talk about? Like you're dying to talk about, we haven't talked about it yet.
Are you trying to speed things along? Because we still
A
have so
little
many
bit.
left.
I know. This is a long episode though, Katie.
Okay, so I tell you what if I go through and I highlight the ones that maybe I go through and I mention the most important ones right now, and then I can go back and do the highlighted ones if there's time. And if there's not time, at the very end of the episode, I can quickly rattle them all off because
Okay.
my brain needs, I'm a completionist.
You're
So
a
I want to at
completionist.
least
All
say
right, go ahead.
everything on the list, even if we can't get into it.
All right.
Okay, cool. So let's see. Or I can just list them if they're interesting and then we can get into them or we can keep going.
Yeah.
That might be easier. You let me know if this stands out and we can address it. Otherwise, we'll just keep
Okay.
moving.
Okay.
Okay, tickling and feathers.
Ooh, we're gonna do a whole episode on that at some point, aren't we?
That's
I
its
think
own
we
topic.
talked about this. Yeah. But yes, tickling and feathers, that's a big thing. People like that.
Okay. Do you want to hear a little bit about it or should I keep moving?
I think we can keep moving.
Sensory deprivation.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, blindfolds.
Mm-hmm. Sight is
Blindfolds
typically
happen in my workshops optionally, but I
you
offer
pay compensation
blindfolds.
from that.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, typically vision is most commonly restricted because it heightens the sense of touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Frotteurism, that is the non-consensual, this is one of the danger ones,
Oh,
non-consensual rubbing up against a non-consenting person. This one's unethical. Do not do this. This
oh
is
yeah.
abuse.
Do not do. Do not do.
One that we do absolutely need to talk about, consensual non-consent, aka rape play.
Yes, and we did an episode on this.
We did this, yeah, this was
Season
inspired by a friend of
one or
mine.
two?
Hmm?
Yeah. What was that? Or season one or two? We did a CNC.
Oh yeah, I think it was season one. It was like CNC, it's dynamite, something like that.
Yes. Yes, we did an
Yeah.
episode. Hmm.
So, important distinction here. This is not actual rape. This is not sexual assault. This is entirely role play that is simulating a lack of consent, but it's completely consensual as long as the proper precautions are in place. You have safe words, you have aftercare. A lot goes into this too. This explores power exchange, fear, trust, and desire fantasies within that negotiated safety. And this often plays on the fantasy that a partner desires you so strongly they can't help themselves and they go feral. But it's not in an abusive way. It's more of just pretending that their desire was so overwhelming that they had to take you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we continue?
Continue.
Hair pulling.
Oh, yes. And that might be one of the most common kink
Yep.
things that people participate in, right? Because like ending up pulling your partner's hair is super normy, right?
Yep. That
She
one's very
said, trying
common.
to convince herself that she was normie. Go ahead.
So that one has both like the submissive, dominant kind of power play to it, but it's also the scalp is very sensitive and there's that
Yeah.
sensory experience.
It can feel good. Just, rubbing the scalp, using a scalp massager, giving a little pull on the hair. It's really
I don't think
nice.
I have met a man who doesn't love scalp massage sensation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, we have age play. There are a
Okay.
couple of notes I'd love to give about this one. This is
All right.
role play
Yes,
of
do
taboo
it.
scenarios. This one is also very, very
Hmm.
common. It can involve age differences moving in either direction, either one person pretending to be younger or one person playing the older person role here. It plays with feelings of
Hmm.
safety, of care, of the taboo. It can soothe attachment needs. This is for adults with other adults only. This is not related to
Yes.
pedophilia. This is completely different from age regression, which is more of in a therapeutic setting or as a sign of
Hmm.
trauma. And just for fun, one flavor of age play that gets a lot of attention because it's going to raise some eyebrows here is the adult baby play.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, is
And
that one on your list at
Cosmo
all?
covered role play. So it was very general. Like age play wasn't specifically addressed, but just playing a character outside of your day-to-day life, usually as part of a sex scene. Yeah.
Yeah. So with baby play, sometimes this can be sexualized, sometimes it's not sexualized. And if you're wondering, yes, people do typically wear diapers. Whether or not they use that diaper is up to the person playing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Not everyone is using it the way you're thinking, but some people do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So moving along, I have animal role play and pet play.
Okay.
I've got a
Not
couple of categories here. I can actually, let's see if any of these fall into your article. We
all
have
right.
animal pet play, role play, furry sex, zoophilia, and bestiality. Those are different. And monster fucking or creature fantasies.
So there's a very specific creature fantasy on here. We have tentacle stuff on my
Oh, yeah,
list.
that one's super common. Yep.
Tentacle stuff. And yeah, super common. And I actually was talking with somebody about tentacle stuff recently, thinking that, you know, maybe it's mostly men that have the tentacle fantasies, but like, I don't think so.
Actually, it's mostly women who are into the creature
Right.
fantasies, monster fucking. It's this way of exploring
Hmm.
a power exchange and desire and the difference there. There's an element of freedom to it because the creature's not human, so you don't have the human rules. So it's a way that women can explore these more taboo scenarios without like thinking of themselves in their everyday lives with everyday people.
Right. So, in that vein, in the Cosmo article, they also talk about spectrophilia, which is an attraction to ghosts or spiritual beings.
That's not on my list.
Right? It's not on your list. And I was like, you know what? It reminds me of Dracula a little bit. Did anybody see um, that more recent version of Dracula that came out? Ooh,
Did they
what's
make
it
him
called?
sexy?
They made the woman that he went after kind of like call him in.
Ah,
You know, Nosferatu. It was in the Nosferatu movie. She kind of called him in. And then the other thing on the list is a robot fetish.
oh, I
So
don't have that one either.
arousal from sex with robots, AI, or mechanical beings.
Oh, what fun.
Yes, but I feel like those all kind of fall into what we were talking about.
There's a lot of similarities there. So I would
Hmm.
love to say a couple of additional notes here before we move
Yeah,
on. I don't want the furry community coming after me for this. So furries are not, it's not necessarily a sexual thing. I'm only bringing this up
absolutely.
here because there is a subset where it is a sexual experience.
Hmm.
This is where there's the expression through the anthropomorphic animal personas, and it provides identity exploration and safety and community. But again, not necessarily a sexualized thing. One flavor of it is bronies, where they're role playing as characters from the My Little Pony universe.
Yes,
Same thing.
yes.
Sometimes, a lot of the time, it's non-sexual, but sometimes there is a subset that is sexual.
Can I throw another one in?
Yeah, what you got?
Well, humans are animals, right?
Oh yeah, we can talk
There's
about pet play.
there's one on this list called catopronophilia. Catop Catoptronophilia. It means sexual arousal from watching yourself in a mirror.
Oh
Not on your list, right?
no, but I totally have that.
I wish I was doing a better job at pronouncing it, but yes.
I'm kind of enjoying the struggle a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm on the struggle bus with this pronunciation stuff. All right.
That's so
Moving on.
fun.
What else you got?
Okay, let's see. Voyeurism and exhibitionism.
Yep, that's on here for sure. Super
Oh, okay.
common.
If you want to say a few words.
Yeah. I mean, voyeurism and exhibitionism, right? Like getting turned on, being seen naked or having sex is exhibitionism, and arousal from watching others is voyeurism.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the basis,
yeah.
right? And I
So
think that's another super, super common thing.
very common. I do want to make a distinction here. This is an area where it needs to be consensual for this to be
Consensual.
okay. There are a lot of ways to express it that are crimes. Don't do those ones. No
Like
exposing yourself in
exposing
public.
yourself.
No,
Yeah.
that one couple that was having sex on a public beach, like under a towel, but it was really obvious and everybody knew what was happening. No,
Ooh.
going out into public with your submissive dressed up in like a full body latex suit, crawling around on the floor, kissing your shoes. Like, no, spectators have not consented to this experience. The same way, like, they'll watch people without their permission. You're an adult. Be
Yes,
responsible. Be consensual about
absolutely.
everything. Yeah.
All right. What's up next, Katie?
Okay. I'm trying to do the speed run version here. We do have latex on the list. I did not make a
Okay.
distinction for like rubber or leather, but I did mention latex.
Okay.
Yeah. We also have feederism. You know what that one is?
No, tell me feederism.
That one's the arousal from feeding someone or being fed and gaining weight. This plays into feelings of control, nurturing, and abundance, and this must be consensual for it to be ethical. There is no like secretly feeding someone to make them gain weight. That was actually featured in the show Malcolm in the
Ooh.
Middle in an episode where the husband was secretly making the wife gain weight while she was pregnant without her knowledge. That was unconsensual.
Aw. Yeah, that's rude.
Yeah.
Well, sort of related on the Cosmo list, vor.
Oh, I have vor. That's my next one. Vor,
Oh,
crushing, and giantess, gigantism.
yeah. So vor is just fantasies about being consumed or consuming, right?
Yeah, actually, I dated somebody who
Mhm.
had this, and for them, it was like this feeling of it evoked like a cozy sort of emotion. Like he could live in her
Mm.
belly and felt all snuggly and safe and like treasured
Yeah.
in there. There
Hmm.
was this caretaking element versus with like the
Hmm.
crushing and giantess, it's more about like being dominated, being consumed by this person or this force, like wanting to totally surrender to them, and this feeling of erasure of yourself and your loss of control. It's this symbolic merging of power.
Mm.
And so all of these are
Yeah.
obviously areas for fantasy, not reality.
Otherwise, we might be getting into cannibalism.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So
I
we
mean,
are almost
I like to snack on my partner, but not
nibbles,
literally.
nibbles
Not
here and
literally.
there. So the last, let's see, I've got a couple. Let me list all of these and you let me know if we should do a little shout out. I have
Okay.
suction play. We already talked about doll play. I have breeding, pregnancy, and lactation kinks.
Yeah. So that is on the Cosmo list, pregnancy fetish and breeding kinks.
Oh, good.
Mhm.
Let's do that one.
Yeah. I mean, pregnancy fetish, just being attracted to pregnant features or aspects, right? Wanting to do somebody who's pregnant. And then arousal, breeding kink is arousal from the idea of impregnation, right? Or
Mhm.
unprotected sex. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There
So
can be
obviously, be careful, my friends.
There can be a controlled power play element to these, especially with the impregnation. With pregnancy in general, that one can trigger feelings of nurturing, fertility, creation, and just this intimacy feeling.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
also with the breastfeeding and lactation, the lactation breast milk, that's more of the fetish side of it.
Yeah. And that's very, that can be a very nurturing
Yeah.
kind of
Who
experience.
doesn't like
Yeah.
having their nipples sucked on? Very
Yeah.
sensitive.
And I'll tell you, just as a woman who has been pregnant before, um, there is something to the hormones of pregnancy that might make you even more horny than normal. So find yourself someone with a pregnancy fetish if you're pregnant.
And be worshipped
do your,
appropriately because you're
yeah, do
bringing life into
yourself a
this
favor.
universe. Yeah. Okay. And the last two I have on my list, I've got sleep play, and I've also got glory holes, anonymous touching, and free use.
Okay. All right. I don't think any of that is on the Cosmo list, but there's a few things.
So
Is there anything? what do you want to talk about from the rest of your
I want to
list?
give a very quick little note on sleep play. That's the
Yes.
arousal from your partner either being asleep or pretending to be asleep. This one is only ethical when it is fully negotiated, completely consensual. It
Yes.
is role play. You're not actually committing a crime against somebody else.
Right.
You gotta actually be
Yes.
asleep and not give full consent.
Right.
Um, But as for the glory holes, anonymous touching, and free use, that's a fun one. These ones are ethical when there's explicit consent from all parties involved. This is where you're
Right.
having contact that's anonymous or semi-anonymous. For free use, the person is freely, like pre-consenting to just anyone touching them however they want. And there's exhilaration from the anonymity and from the submission and novelty.
All right. Well,
I
the ones
think
that
I think that's everything on my list.
there's a couple that weren't covered that were on the Cosmo list
Okay, what?
because they're basic, right? So, like dirty talk, group sex, sex parties, right? Like Katie's not even considering those as kinky. Like they're barely kinky, right?
Hilarious.
But I should have brought this up earlier. Macrophilia, arousal from fantasies involving giants or giantesses.
Oh yeah. I had that with the
Yeah, that was
crushing
in one of the
gigantism.
other
Yeah,
categories,
that
right?
factors into that.
So they also list here primal play, which we could have talked about a little bit with animal play, but really like the way I see primal is just going with your instinct, right? So like growling or maybe a little snarling, some raw energy, and I don't even consider that to be kinky. I just
I
think
was gonna
that's being a
say that
human.
sounds so vanilla to me. That like why wouldn't she be doing that anyway? Just as a natural expression of
Exactly.
behavior.
Like I have a workshop coming up in March called Instinctual Intimacy. It's not kinky. Come on down to Annapolis. It's just being human and like fully human, right? And I don't consider being fully human like kinky. That's just being authentic. So, but what about this one? Splashing?
Oh yeah, we haven't talked about that. That's with like food.
Well, sexual pleasure from wet, messy, often food-based substances.
Let's talk
I
about
have
that one.
I have the opposite of splashing. Like,
Dry, not foods only.
yeah, like I don't even want like anything wet happening. Like,
Me either.
yeah, like towels. Like,
Yes.
yes, towels.
Happily take a warm oil, but anything else, no, thank you.
No, thank you, right? So I guess, some people have a sexual response to being surrounded by or immersed in wet substances, right? So
Very
like Jello
sensory
tubs
oriented.
and
It can also have a
shaving
degradation
cream.
element.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah. Um, oh, I'm going to struggle again. Melola, mel, melolagnia? Melolagnia?
What's
Kink
that?
for music. A kink for music.
Oh, getting turned on by certain music?
Yeah, like it's not having a favorite playlist or wanting to bang the hot drummer. It's about like having an actual sexual reaction to music itself.
Ah, I
So
love
I
that
kind of feel
concept.
like that's almost like a wire crossing thing, like synesthesia, where you can like see color. Like I sort of wonder about that. But I could see, I mean,
I
I
love
could
that
be a,
we've talked about the other senses being related to specific fetishes and kinks. Like that's really neat
yeah,
that there is an auditory version. I love that.
right. Yeah. Another one on their list is praise kink, right?
Ah, yeah.
I mean, I think everybody essentially has a praise kink, right?
I just
Like
love the
getting
love of
off on being praised.
yeah.
Yeah, everybody likes being a good girl, right? Um,
I would sooner stab my partner than let them call me a good girl, but it's other kinds of praise that I appreciate as
other
like an element
words,
of worship. I'm like,
yes.
compliment me, compliment my beauty, compliment my power, compliment, all these other things.
Hmm.
But that one you have to be delicate with because if someone called me a good
Yes.
girl, I would be so turned off. So
It's got to be the right words. If it's not the right words, then it doesn't work. But okay, I've got one that's on the Cosmo list that you're never going to believe is on the Cosmo list. Fisting. Fisting made the
wow, they
Cosmo
consider
list.
that kinky?
I think it is considered kinky, Katie. But this is what I do want to say one word about fisting is like people don't really understand Fisting is not putting your fist into someone. It's putting your whole hand into someone, which is different. It's
It's a
different.
lot easier to fit that way.
Yeah, it's different.
It's
So
also
read
not
up.
something done by force, you know? This
Yeah,
is
read up on how to do that carefully. It takes a lot of warming up, but it can be, I have heard, not that I have
somebody
experienced
who
it, it
wants
can
that stretching sensation.
full
They want to feel
sensation.
as
It's
full
a
as
very
possible.
full sensation.
That's your next
Yeah,
level size queen.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I think, I think we've done it,
Have
Katie.
we done it all? I almost feel bad because like I had to withhold some detail from some of these really fun categories, but for anyone listening, if you do want to know more, I'd be happy to do a follow-up episode on anything
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
play with a little more.
There's probably going to be some follow-ups to this. This was like a taster, I think.
There's so much. And I love how this secretly ties in with thoughts for what we are going to be doing next year. I'm
Yeah, we
telling y'all
still
about
are
that soon.
planning next year, but we're on a certain track, my friends.
It's going to be great. Okay, so
Hmm.
wow, that was a lot. That was so much fun.
So
And this
fun.
has also just been such a good reminder that sexuality is so incredibly diverse that there's no one standard. There's no one standard expression of sexuality. There's no completely standard expression for each of these individual kinks and fetishes, that they are all so customized based on what a particular person is into and why they're into it. There's just, ah, this is just so much fun. And we all have our quirky little corners of ourselves that are worth exploring in more detail and worth celebrating.
Yeah, totally. And if you've been listening and you're hearing some of these and you're thinking, oh God, is something wrong with me? I just want to say, no, you're just human and you're curious and it's beautiful. And fetish or no fetish, our bodies speak to us in so many ways. And when we actually listen, that's when the sex gets good.
And if you want to explore any of this further, you're not sure how to talk about your turn ons with your partner, coaching is a fantastic place to start. Whether you're wanting to go deeper by yourself or whether you're wanting to go deeper as a couple, we have resources for you.
Absolutely. And, if you just want to talk about it and figure out what's going on for you, you can book a breakthrough session with me. That's just a 2 hour private session where we get clear on what's working in your sex, love, and relationship life, what's not, and how to rewrite your story around that.
And if you're a couple looking to uplevel your connection, your touch, and your pleasure, check out our Pussy Whispering for Couples course. You'll never look at foreplay the same way again.
We'll be back next month with a whole new season. But until then,
Go play, go laugh, go experiment because you deserve pleasure all year round.
and we'll see you next year on Quickies with Angela and Kaity.